Welcome back to the show, family. So today, my beautiful queen and I are going to have a candid conversation about whatever comes to mind. And right now, my question is, baby, what is something that you've learned about yourself today, lately? Something you've learned about yourself lately that you maybe haven't shared or maybe you have that's been impactful for you?
What's something I've learned about myself? Um, I think recently I realized that I was full of shit.
Okay. What does that mean?
I realized that I realized that I have been hiding behind my so-called nervousness, my so-called anxiousness on about being on the show. I've been like hiding behind that and low key like manipulating you into not putting too much pressure on me on the show.
Okay.
I hope that makes it came out the way that I meant it. So it's like I would be really nervous on the show and then I'd be like, babe, well, like, let's just talk about what you want to talk about. Or you can talk more today because I feel really nervous. And it's like, it's kind of giving me a out. Or it's like, hey, instead of me actually trying to talk on the show, let me just let my husband take the lead and just go on about his business. Like and let you kind of run things and me hiding behind, well, I'm nervous and I'm still kind of camera shy and I'm processing what you're saying and stuff like that and not forcing myself to talk through my thoughts the way that I do in our normal conversation.
Right.
Because I feel nervous or I feel like I'll be judged or whatever the case may be, just hiding behind that and not I didn't own the fact that that was my way of taking the pressure off of myself when I needed to be under pressure because this show is something that's very important to me and it's something that I really want to grow in and be better at. And if I'm going to do that, that means I need to be under pressure.
Yeah.
That means I need to be talking and I need to feel that heat on my neck, saying, hey, say what you feel.
Right.
Say what you're thinking, no matter how it comes out, it's still true to me. And our show is all about honesty and transparency. So if I'm holding all of my thoughts in because I feel like I'm going to be judged or I'm feeling nervous or whatever the case may be, it's not me being true and authentic to what we said we wanted the show to be. So basically this was yesterday, you put a mirror to me and showed me that I was full of shit. And I had to own that. And like I got so emotional about it because, and when I say emotional, I started to cry. Like that was the kind of emotion, just so everybody's clear.
Okay.
I started to get emotional about it because I knew it was true. I knew I was lying. I knew I had been lying this whole time. I knew I was afraid. I knew that I was hiding behind that because of my own fears. So like when you showed me, I was like, damn it, he got my ass. Like, like you really got me. Like, and you said what it was, and there was no rebuttal I could do. There was no me saying, or me trying to talk my way out of it. It was like owning that, like, yeah, I knew it within myself, and now your husband sees you. He has seen you. He just ain't said nothing, but I brought it up, and then you kind of like gave me more evidence on top of evidence on top of evidence, and I'm like, well, so you just been stacking this, okay? But yeah, it was a tough moment. It was a needed moment. It was a moment for me to realize that if this show is as important to me as I say it is, I have to show up the way that I'm supposed to show up and not show up as a watered down version of myself.
Right.
And be totally okay with being my straightforward, blunt, honesty might hurt your feelings a little bit type of person. And that's what it is. You know what I'm saying? So yeah,
that was heavy.
Oh boy, listen, it was heavy on me.
I think the interesting thing about that, well, for one, before I even say that, I'm so proud of the fact that you were able to see yourself in that moment and be able to have that realization for yourself. And I know I told you last night that I had already kind of thought about some of those things, but I knew that it wouldn't be productive for me to try and pry those things out of you. Because I know that what we want to do here, you know, with this show and the value that we want to be able to share and communicate with people behind, you know, the beauty of marriage and growing through the process and all of that stuff. We've had those in-depth conversations so many times before.
Yeah.
I've seen your mind bloom in some of the things that you think and that you say. And then to see that when we're on the show, sometimes, you know, you kind of
hold back,
retreat a little bit. And I'm like, babe, like, I know it's in you. Like, we will literally sit in the parking lot at the gym for 2-3 hours and won't even get out the car because we so locked in on the conversation. And we have to like make ourselves stop to go into the gym. And those be some of like our like dopest conversations ever. So it's like when we get on the show, I'm like, babe, where was all of that? Where's all that heat that I know is in you?
Listen, it's not even something I've told you constantly, that something that is like, unfortunately, like embedded in me is like, who do you think you are? Like, how dare you try to do this thing? How dare you try to put marriage on the map? How dare you try to make Black love a thing? How dare you try to put your marriage out for the world to see and let people watch you grow through your marriage? Like, who are you to think you can do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, who are you to think that what you have to offer is so valuable? So, and that's something that's like constantly like, and it plays in my head, like, who do you think you are? And that's one of my demons that I have to constantly battle, is like, what I have to say is valuable. What I've learned in our marriage is valuable. I should be sharing this with people because this is stuff that people really don't know. We know because we're in it.
Yeah.
Other people don't know. So they need to hear it from people who advocate for marriage, who are in a happy marriage, who love each other to death, and who want other people to experience this in their own way. So it is important for me to do this.
Yeah.
So my whatever thought or belief that's in me is something I just have to fight through.
Absolutely.
And doing this show and now showing up as who Adoria is right now is me fighting that. Like, as much as I've talked right now, this is me. Like, I'm literally still battling it right now.
In the moment.
Like, I still have to push through. So it's hard.
Of course.
It's hard because it's something that's always, I feel like it's always been there, that thought of who you think you are.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm gonna push through because what we're trying to do is so much bigger than how I feel about myself. It's so much bigger than the negative thoughts that keep popping up about me to me. Yeah. It's bigger than that.
I think what's so beautiful is the fact that you were able to realize that for yourself. And even going back to what I was saying earlier, like when we had that conversation last night, I had told you that I knew some of these things, but I couldn't try and pry it out of you. Like, you had to realize some of that stuff for yourself, because that would be the only way that it could be transformational for you.
Yeah, it's more impactful that way, for sure.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it reminds me of a conversation we've had before on the show, is sometimes loving your partner doesn't look like what you think it do. Like, it doesn't look like what you think it might be, so to say.
Okay.
And it was in one of those moments, it was like loving you was allowing you to be able to hold on to what was actually a very limiting and self-defeating belief that you had at one point, but realizing she gonna have to fight through this for herself. I know that is in her. And because I know my wife, I can let you continue to grow through this process, trusting that I know you're going to realize it in due time.
Right.
But I can't take away from you that journey of discovering that.
Absolutely.
So I had to love you enough in that moment, the while back when we initially talked about it, and you kind of got worked up about it a little bit. I had to let you hold on to that limiting belief. I had to let you hold on to that so that way you could uncover what you've realized lately for yourself to be able to make the change.
Because that was mine.
Yeah.
That was mine to grow through. There was nothing, even if you would have kept coming at, even if you did decide that you wanted to battle me on it, you wanted to fight this battle with me, I would have still fought you, because in my head, what I felt was right. Me being nervous, me believing that I'm what I have to say is not valuable. Me believing that was stronger than anything you could have done. And it's unfortunate, but this was true for me.
Yeah.
So you not helping me through it helped me through it in a sense. Does that make sense?
I think it makes sense.
Yeah.
But that's just because of like what I said. I had to let you have that.
Yeah.
So that way you could fight through it, even though I knew it wasn't exactly what it was as you said it. Because when you were going through it, you was like, well, sometimes I ain't got nothing to say. Well, sometimes, I'm gonna just sit back and let you have this thing or whatever. But in my heart of hearts, I'm like, well, the whole intent behind this show is to pour into people and to show them us in our realest, rawest form of what we're living through, what we're thinking in the moment, what we're growing through, sharing the things that we've gone through, all of these different things to help people and to be there and to show up on purpose. And we can't do that with a show where we're talking and we ain't got nothing to say and there's no exchange.
Absolutely.
And they're not seeing us be able to have that exchange.
Absolutely.
And I was like, well, you know what? I could fight this, but the more we do this, I trust and believe that you're going to have the revelation yourself, and then you'll be able to show up and serve as the person that I know you can be, not even just for the show, but for you.
Absolutely.
Because you need that transformation. You need that shift more than anybody else does. And if they can see it happen in real time and be like, hey, you know what? This version of Adoria looks completely different than what she did 7, 8, 9, 10, 15, episodes ago. They can see that transformation take place and then be able to get the context behind it to see that this was actually a battle she had to overcome, and you got to watch the end result, or you got to watch the process of that and see her develop and come through this thing.
You know what I think is so important about what we're talking about right now is the fact that, yes, we are married, but Adoria has her own battles to fight.
Yeah.
And Trone has his own battles to fight. Yes, we can support each other through, but some stuff is just for me to handle, and just like it's some things are just for you to handle. But we support each other through it. Our individual issues, traumas, fears, demons don't go away when you get married.
Yeah.
It's not a fix-it. Getting married is not a fix-it to all our individual problems. It's still things that we have to face on our own with the support of each other.
Man, listen. Come on, girl. Tell the people what they don't know.
I'm trying. I'm fighting through this, man. I'm fighting through this.
But that's so real, because so many people think that, you get married and then it's sunshine and rainbows after the fact. But the interesting thing and the most powerful thing about being married, especially when it's intentional and you're with somebody who wants to see you grow and develop and become more and all of this stuff, it exposes parts of you that you probably didn't know were there, unresolved things that you didn't know that you had going on in you, and so much more. And it's not the exposure the way it brings you down, but it brings it out of you so that way it can be resolved in a way that you couldn't do before by yourself. And the dope thing about that is when you're going through these things, you actually literally wake up and go to sleep with somebody next to you who sees you in your rawest form every single day, who pays attention to the small details that you might overlook.
Yeah.
The things that you think are not that big of a deal, or whatever the case may be, you get to see or have a life with somebody who gets to see the compounding of that over time.
Yes.
And who will call you out on it, or somebody who will bring that to your attention and then hopefully, God willing, if that's the type of partner you have, they'll go through that thing with you. But it's having somebody who can cover your blind spots, because there's things inside of all of us that we may not even know are there and that are restricting us in a way that we probably haven't addressed before. Right. And it takes having that partner in your life to be able to expose that and then help you walk through whatever that process looks like for you. And to be able to know that you got somebody that you can lean on and be able to like, just go through it with you.
Yeah.
Like, that's like the dopest thing ever, because I've learned so much about me because of you.
Same.
I've learned so much about not only who I thought I was, but I've developed an identity actually of who I want to be because of you and who you've been in my life. And I've watched you do the same thing. And man, I don't know how I could have done this without having had a partner like you. And I'm so grateful for that. Like, granted, all of this is a gift from God. You know what I mean? Like, in the highest form. Yeah. But he's given me the physical manifestation of the perfect partner for me to be able to show me myself.
Yes. And the real you, not who you think you are, who you actually are.
Exactly. Yes. Somebody who I've been able to be all of myself with, and somebody who's been able to say like, hey, you know what? You're better than that.
Yeah, that part.
You can do better than this. I look at you and I see so much more in you, but I can only see that in you, but you got to see it in yourself. Yes. And having a partner that'll help pull that out of you and not beat you down, that'll lift you up and walk through life with you. Like, that's like the dopest thing ever.
It is.
And we've been able to share that 10 times over, literally over a decade now. Yeah. And that's so seeing what you've grown through, man, I'm like, come on, babe. I see you. I see your change.
Thank you.
I see you developing. I see you fighting for yourself. And that is a beautiful thing to be able to watch, because I see you daily. Yeah. And I see those shifts and those small adjustments you make. And you need to be applauded for that. Because I know fighting against what you would assume to be your nature or things that you've made peace with, when they actually hold you back from the goals and the desires that you actually have, and addressing those things and deciding to shift, I know that's hard.
It's very hard.
And we've done it individually and together.
Yeah.
So I'm proud of us.
Yeah. You know, what's funny about that is this show shows me like so in the gym, it's physical things. You know how I've overcome so many things physically, but this show helps me bring out like certain like emotions or the limiting beliefs as far as what I have to offer as far as how I think. Yeah. Does that make sense?
Absolutely.
So it's like a totally different shift. It's like with physical, like with working out, it's like, okay, well, I can push through this. This is whatever. But this right here is totally different because I'm battling what's in my head. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to get, how am I trying to say what I'm trying to say? Give me the words, Lord. It's different when you're battling something that is within you that has kind of helped you be comfortable in a sense, to where it seems like it seemed like it was helpful at one point. Yeah. Because it was like protecting me from whatever. Because when we first started the show and we went viral the first time, things went left very, very fast. Yeah. So I think myself is trying to protect myself from that. And it's like, I've come so much further than that. You know what I mean? Like, we've come so much further than the first episode. So it's like, okay, retraining myself to know that this is safe for me. I'm still with my safe space, my husband. Us sharing is still safe. Even with the crazy, you know, people gonna say what they want to say, which is fine. But this is still a safe thing for us to do. You know what I'm, and it's meaningful. Yeah. So trying to train myself to tell myself that I'm not in danger. Like, there's nothing to fear. You know? Does that make sense?
The reason why I understand it is because there's a level of being vulnerable and
Yes.
exposure that comes with what we've done.
Yeah.
We're literally opening up people to try to put their own context behind things that we say.
Mm-hmm.
And that was something that we dealt with earlier on in starting this process.
Yes.
Like, we can say something, and for whatever reason, we could be having a conversation. We post a clip. We will contextualize it, add all of this stuff to the caption or whatever, and people will still make up their own idea of what they think we're saying, or try to pivot it somewhere towards something that we're not saying at all.
Yeah.
And they'll try to create their own stories behind it and then label us as the face of the story that they just made up.
Yes.
And we've had to deal with the backlash of that so many times at this point, but it's realizing that the right people will understand our message. The people who actually want to grow deeper in love, or who connect with the message that we have, who want to be able to have these productive conversations or whatever the case may be, the right people will know our hearts, and they'll actually pay attention to what it is that we're saying, and not make up these artificial, made up, pieces of bull crap that don't serve nobody
At all.
But it's a high level of exposure in that, and it's coming to a place to where we can be at peace with people in their humanness.
Yeah.
Because we can't control the backlash. We can't control how people respond to what we say. And the most amazing thing about this show is the fact that we're not pretending.
Right.
Like, we're not trying to be something that we're not. We talk about it all the time. We look back at stuff we recorded a year ago, and sometimes our beliefs today are completely polar opposite of stuff that we've said before. And that's not us being hypocrites. That's us growing.
Yeah.
And so many people today have difficulties with understanding that things don't always have to stay stagnant, or there doesn't always have to be a set belief around anything, honestly. Right. Like, we grow and we evolve and we go through so many different things that contextualize the way that we think, that make us feel certain ways, that changes our beliefs, all of these different things. And we're actively growing.
Right.
We're actively trying to become better versions of ourselves and doing the work and putting in all of this effort. And that comes with us confronting old beliefs. And so when people see us putting ourselves out there, so to say, we're doing that to help people and to serve people, and doing it in the best way possible. But also, we get to look back at that stuff for ourselves and be like, you know what? I wonder, I don't know if I still feel that way no more.
Right.
Or maybe I think about this thing differently.
Yeah.
And just being able to have this documented evidence of our own literal development.
Right.
And that's what that is. But that's also what marriage is.
Yes.
Because the person you meet and you marry today, if today is day one, they're not going to be that same person 5 years down the road.
Right.
They're probably not going to think the same. You're going to have so much more life experiences. And then 10 and 20 years down the road, you're going to be with a completely different person.
Absolutely.
And that is marriage. And so what you're seeing here is literally, in a way, the manifestation of exactly what that is.
Yeah.
It's you seeing us do these things in real time.
Right.
We're changing, we're developing, and becoming completely new people based off of who we desire to be.
Yeah.
And that's where the level of intention comes into play.
Right.
Because we're not just doing this to let whoever we become just be anybody. We've decided who we want to become.
Yes.
And this is an element of the work, which also requires us to confront some demons, some insecurities, some false or negative beliefs, all of those things. It's a part of the process.
Right.
And this is us doing it live and direct.
Yeah.
In the most honest way possible.
Right.
And again, I'm proud of us.
Me too. Me too. I'm excited to see what else manifests from all of this. Because this has been a beautiful experience so far.
I know that's real. And I know that it's only going to get better the more that we grow and the more that we're able to show up and serve with the honest and genuine intentions we have behind doing this. Because it's not for our own ego, so to say. Like it's literally because we want to be better, to be able to better show up for the people that we want to serve and pour into. But we got to address us.
Yeah.
We got to be able to take all of the stuff that we've grown through, lived through, all of that good stuff, be able to bottle it up, give it back to people so that way they can use it and grow from it in whatever way they find fit. And, you know, and then us be able to do those same things in real time as we living through it all.
Right.
But in conclusion, family, because we do have to move on.
Yeah.
If you've gotten any value out of this, please do like, comment, and subscribe. If you're listening to us on whatever your favorite podcasting platform is, you know, man, leave us a 5-star rating if you feel like we deserve it. Connect with us on all the social media platforms. And until next time, my name is John Trone, and this is my beautiful queen.
Adoria.
We are one dope couple, family. And until next time, peace and love. You did great stuff.
Thank you.
Give me some. And just in time.
Yeah, I kept looking at my phone. I was like, I don't know what time it is.